Bloodsucker, deadlier than Dracula. Warm young bodies will feed his hunger, and hot fresh blood his awful thirst. Blacula! Also, before I start the review, I like to mention that there are racial slurs in this movie, so if you don't like them, I suggest you leave. Shortly after the Civil Rights Movement ended in 1968, African Americans could be part of society without being ridiculed, and one of the first marks they made was in film, which is how the blaxploitation genre of film was created. After hits like Shaft and Sweet Setbake's Badass Song, both 1971, and Superfly, 1972, were hits at the box office, American International Pictures, best known for their B movies, wanted to get some money while staying in familiar territory, and that's how Blacula was born. The movie starts off in 1780 at Dracula's castle, where African Prince Mamuwalde, played by William Marshall, and his wife Luva, played by Vanessa McGee, go to Dracula's castle and make a peace treaty with him to end the slave trade. Unfortunately, Dracula, who is revealed to be a racist, refuses, but is also revealed to be a vampire, and sends some of his men out to kill Mamuwalde. Mamuwalde holds up a pretty good fight, but gets knocked out, and Dracula bites Mamuwalde on the neck, cursing him with his vampirism and dubbing him Blacula before locking him away. Luva is devastated and spends the remainder of her days crying by his coffin. 192 years later, a homosexual couple, Bobby McCoy, played by Ted Harris, and his boyfriend, Billy, played by Rick Metzler, go to Dracula's castle, or what remains of it, and buy some memorabilia before shipping it back to Los Angeles. When they go to a warehouse, Billy accidentally cuts himself and Bobby tends to him. Unfortunately, Mamuwalde, now a vampire, rises from his grave and battles the two men before biting hard on Billy's arm. Bobby tries to stop Blacula, but he too gets bitten. At Bobby's funeral, Blacula watches from afar, and he sees a girl named Tina, also played by Vanessa McGee, who he believes to be the reincarnation of his wife. He chases her around town, and Tina accidentally drops her purse, but Blacula picks it up, and as he continues chasing her, he gets struck down by a cab. The driver, Juanita Jones, played by Katie Lester, insults the Count, who gets angry and bites her. Juanita, if I was you, I'd immediately start dashing. This gets the attention of Dr. Gordon Thomas, played by Thalmus Rasulala, and Police Lieutenant Jack Peters, played by Gordon Pinsent. They discover Juanita's body with bite marks on the neck and start speculating. Later, at Tina's sister's, Michelle's, birthday party, Michelle is played by Denise Nicholas, by the way, Blacula associates himself with the crew and returns Tina's purse. Meanwhile, Gordon gets a phone call that Bobby's body has been missing. Meanwhile, a photographer, Nancy, played by Emily Yancey, takes a photo of Blacula and Tina, causing Blacula to be scared, although he hides it, and leaves. Nancy goes home shortly after to develop the photo, but Blacula's come into her house and kills her before destroying the photo. That night, at Tina's apartment, Blacula explains himself to Tina on how she is his reincarnated wife due to them looking so similar. She initially dismisses it at first, and Blacula leaves, respecting her decision, but she changes her mind and realizes that she wants to be with him. Gordon, meanwhile, knowing that Bobby's out on the loose, theorizes Billy's out on the loose too. He digs up his grave with Michelle watching, but unfortunately, Gordon was right as Billy lunged out. Fortunately, Gordon manages to put Billy out of his misery. He then goes to a phone booth and calls the morgue attendant, Sam, played by Elijah Cook Jr., to leave the door closed for Juanita Jones. Unfortunately, he doesn't listen, and Juanita, now a vampire, lunges at him and kills him. The next morning, or rather, almost till dawn later, Gordon picks up Lieutenant Peters, and they go to the morgue and kill Juanita once and for all. After Gordon realizes that Mamuwalde, aka Blacula, was the real vampire all along, He goes to Tina's apartment, where he engages in a battle with Blacula, who briefly knocks him over. Gordon recovers, picks up Lieutenant Peters, and goes to a warehouse full of vampires and destroys each and every one of them. Meanwhile, Tina and Blacula escape to a nearby chemical plant where an army of cops fight against them. A trigger-happy cop shoots Tina, causing Blacula to go in a rage and beat him to a pulp. He then bites Tina on the neck, ensuring she lives forever. But unfortunately, Gordon arrives and stakes Tina, killing her. Devastated, Blacula surrenders and climbs to the roof of the building where the sun has already risen. He collapses and dissolves into bone and, strangely, maggots, which is just weird. I don't know why. Overall, characters are great. Blacula is awesome as frick. Overall, I'd rate this movie a 9 out of 10. Go check it out. It's pretty fun.